Field of 68 Best Bets show presented by BetRivers. We are the three-man weave back from our 3-day hiatus. It's been too long, folks. It's been too long away from the college basketball YouTube channel sphere. That's because we had to watch our USA team, guys, play against the Netherlands on Saturday morning. Not the result we wanted, of course, but our guys gave it their all. Hey, we'll see you in 4 years, soccer. Jim, takeaways from the weekend, basketball related, that you might have had.
Yeah, I'm still mourning, so there's going to be a lot of sadness emanating from me. But hey, Kai, it's only 3.5 years away because it'll be in the summer next time. So
True.
It's okay. I'll be back here in the States. Takeaway from basketball is I've seen a lot of panic about UNC. Like, are they even going to make the tournament, et cetera? I think that is ridiculous. I know it's happened on this very Field of 68 channel. They say a playoff series doesn't start until the home team loses. I'm not panicking until UNC loses at home or loses a game that's iffy where Baycott even is healthy. Like, I think 3 of the 4 losses he's been unhealthy. The overtimes against Alabama and then Indiana and Virginia Tech. I know they've got some issues, but I saw some stuff late in the Virginia Tech game that was really, really impressive. The ball movement, the defensive pressure, like they can get there. They have the gear still. It's not gone. I'm not panicking about UNC, Matt. Sorry, I know you're a Duke boy, but the Tar Heels are going to be okay.
Yeah, they'll be fine. I guess they're good. They're just not like top 5.
Turn it
good.
down, Matt. Turn it down.
2 down again. Okay. I don't know why my Zoom decides to have a microphone full blast every time I open it, but let's go from 10 to 7. Kai, how's that? Testing 1 2. Testing 3 4.
Good job.
So my takeaway from last night: Kent State rocks. I love this like Toledo versus Kent State duel I have in my own mind. Like, I want to see them just play 20 times in the MAC regular season and just have that be the MAC. The winner of that series decides the rocket ships. Attaboy, Jimbo. I, for the record, do think Toledo's a little bit better still, but I just love that we're going to have 2 teams that are at large caliber, although their resumes may not be at large worthy, duking it out in the MAC this season. So 2 teams to watch, as we will talk at length, I'm sure, throughout the rest of the year on this program.
Matt, that's why I wanted him to win yesterday, just to give him a chance at the at-large.
I know.
Where we'd have to talk about it. Like, they've got to win at Gonzaga. Like,
Losing to Charleston is tough. That would have been a nice little resume banner. So,
yes. My takeaways, guys, Nebraska, wow. Beat Creighton. Fred Hoiberg was like, hey, you know what? I'm going to get rid of the stuff that hasn't been working for however many years I've been there. I'm going to try a whole different style. And guess what? It's working so far. Nebraska looks pretty good. The rack, Matt, continues to haunt your Hoosiers. Rutgers took down Indiana quite easily at home. And then Wisconsin Marquette. Great game. Watched it at a bar, back and forth. I was on Wisconsin, so yes, I was getting a little bit nervous when I went to overtime when Marquette made the comeback, but it was a lot of fun to watch regardless. Let's get into the slate. We got some good games today on this lovely Tuesday. Iowa versus Duke leads us off. This is a twofer at Madison Square Garden. Matt, you're the Dukey guy, the podcast and the channel and the three-man weave in general here. Iowa, to me, is a team I trust a little bit more than Duke, but tell me why I might be wrong. Who do you like in this game?
No, I'm with you. The eye test, it overwhelmingly makes me want to take Iowa here. I just thought the line was a little too short. I think it's you kind of have to respect Duke's talent, and I think you have to respect the fact that Duke at MSG is I don't have the exact ATS record, but they play there a ton. It's not like a home court advantage, but I think the familiarity of playing at that neutral site will give them a slight edge. Jim seems to disagree. I don't know. I just think that Duke tends to play well on neutral sites and non-con. You look at the historical results. This is what they're built to do. Shire's done this. I know it's largely a young team, but I do think the line's a little short, and I would lean Duke, but I didn't play it because betting against Iowa is not any way to get rich. So no play for me.
Yeah, Matt, my dog head turn there.
Yeah, that was good. That was good.
It's a bunch of freshmen and a new coach and 2 Big Ten transfers that haven't been on Duke. Like, why does the MSG history matter for this team? I don't know.
No, probably not. Probably
not. But I agree. I was kind of hunting an Iowa bet here, and I thought we'd get over a possession, and that's unfortunately not the case. Did you see Dariq Whitehead's tweet? Basically it was a quote from Marcus Peters about how coming back from injury, it's really hard, like mentally. And basically, I think Whitehead's saying like he's not mentally back. He's not out there. He's not feeling the same. And I don't think we're going to see full form Duke until he is, because I still maintain he was the best recruit coming in, as good as Filipowski has been. So I don't know if Duke's really full form and without Whitehead and Lively really clicking, probably not. So I lean Iowa, Kai, even at 2.5. I just think that they are really kind of firing on all cylinders right now, and I'm not too scared of the MSG factor here.
Yeah, just to clarify, there's some chatter, Kai, in the mobster community right now. You're right. The historical data doesn't really mean anything because it's a new coach, it's a whole new team. I think it's more important is that like Duke and Illinois, which we'll talk about very shortly here, have played at neutral site venues this year. I kind of think that experience matters. Maybe that's all fluff and nonsense, but I think give a courtesy
played at Seton Hall. Isn't that tougher? And they played neutral sites too.
Yeah, but I think bigger, more high profile, like the championship class. I think Duke has had higher profile neutral site games. Okay. No, is that a stupid take? Maybe it is. I don't know. It's my gut talking. Ignore it.
Fair enough. I like Iowa better.
Duke's gut is smarter than me. So
I'm talking. Duke is young. They're still figuring it out. I'm not sure about Shire as a coach quite yet. He's figuring stuff out too. He admitted it himself in some pressers I've seen. He's saying, "Hey, I'm still figuring this coaching job out as well." And Iowa's got plenty of size to kind of combat Duke throughout the lineup, right? They have big wings, they have bigs up front, and they also have the best player on the floor, and that's Chris Murray. And that helps. That gives you a chance to win any game, and they can shoot. They have an awesome offense that can keep them in any game. I lean their way here +3, +2.5.
Kai, what do you think on the total? I saw someone ask about that in the chat.
Duke's totals have been going under a lot this year. That's kind of been the trend, but I would never bet an Iowa under.
Yeah, Shire will play some zone. I think it actually could take Iowa a little bit out of their transition flow. I would lean under as well. Maybe a little MSG, NBA Arena shooting regression. I don't know.
That I might, yeah.
I'm reaching for angles to start, Kai. Come on, let's get to games I actually have good takes on. Next.
I'm trying.
This is your team. This is your Duke.
I know. I have nothing. I'm confounded by my team.
Next game, Illinois versus Texas, same venue. Experience difference, Jim, is what I'm starting off with. Texas plays 6 seniors in their rotation. Tyrese Hunter has been around for what seems like forever, even though he's a sophomore. Illinois, just 2 seniors, heavy reliant on freshmen. Do you think that matters? Who do you like in this game?
I think it matters a little bit, yeah. And the seniors that are there haven't been there. Like Shannon is still a new piece. And I mean, that hasn't really impacted them so far. I know they lost at Maryland, but that's a really, really tough road environment to play at. And we all are pretty on board with Maryland being fully legit. We'll discuss them in a second. The thing that stood out to me is the turnover potential here. And that kind of correlates with your experience factor. Illinois, 260th in turnover rate, and Texas's perimeter pressure is up there with anybody else in the country. 10th in defensive turnover rate. Tyrese Hunter just gets in your shorts. Marcus Carr's a terrific perimeter defender as well. If Illinois can't really get into stuff because they're farting the ball away and giving up easy transition points, then that is a problem. So, Matt, I kind of lean against the market here. I know they've bet Illinois down a little bit, but I kind of like Texas. It's not quite to where I'm going to punch back, but that would be, if I had to bet it, that's where I'd go.
Yeah, I agree with the market move on the price. I had it a little bit lower myself, but you bring up the matchup concerns that are pretty real. Like just the young, youthful guards of Illinois against the pressure certainly bother me. I think Illinois sort of can negate that though with Terrence Shannon kind of handling the point a little bit. We've seen Matty Meyer and even Coleman Hawkins handle the ball a little bit. So maybe Underwood gets cute and tries to, bring his forwards into some of that, if not like full court press break, but just like general ball handling and offensive initiation. We've seen him again multiple times make key adjustments and moving his trigger men around the floor to kind of make his freshman guard put them in comfortable situations to succeed, I guess, Kai. So we'll see how Underwood adjusts. I trust him very, very deeply to make the right adjustments, but I think that perimeter pressure of Texas, man, it's been jaw dropping this year. I'm not looking to get in the way of that.
Yeah, that worries me in this game. And I'm kind of with Jim. I was hoping the line would go the other way. I kind of expected it to. Maybe grab Illinois at +5. Never happened. Money came in on Illinois. At this price, I lean Texas, like Jim said. I mean, defensively, you guys mentioned the turnover splits, but they're good in every single area. Maybe a little bit weaker on the defensive glass. That's Danger and Hawkins. Danger a little bit there for Texas. But I lean their way still. I don't think Illinois' youth is going to perform that well tonight. And Texas is an awesome team. I've been impressed with them this season for the most part. So lean Texas there for me. Next game, Maryland at Wisconsin, a major, major battle in the Big Ten here. Matt, kind of a similar experience theme here. The Terps start 4 seniors. They seem to be pretty much in final season form right now. The Badgers, 1 senior on the roster, Tyler Wall, Who do you like in this game at the Kohl Center?
I like Maryland, and I can't believe I'm saying that, but I do. Money's come both ways, I think, on this game. It's sitting right around pick right now, shade a little bit toward Wisconsin, I believe.
It is -1 Wisconsin. That's
Wisconsin.
Right. Which I think
the
most
Terps
of the time. Yeah.
Okay. I think they maybe flipped for a hot second, but the Terps are just really good. Like they've done nothing wrong at all this year. I know Wisconsin home court has to be respected. I know Big Ten home court has to be respected, but I think the weird spot situation, and Jim will have a better beat on this than me, like coming off the overtime win at Marquette, like that was kind of a huge win for a Scotty team that needed one, I think, to build some forward momentum. Now you could argue that's, in the review and their hype because it's their first Big Ten opener and Maryland's coming off the big one in Illinois. Maybe they're a little bit flat in their first, hostile road environment. With all due respect to Louisville, we all know it's just not really a hostile environment this year. Yeah, we don't need to respect them. So I don't know, Jim. I like the Terps. Why am I wrong? Tell me why I should be respecting the Buzz Cut badge at the Kohl Center.
I think they're both coming off a big win. You kind of hit on it. Like I definitely agree. That's a huge Wisconsin road win. Nobody wins that rivalry on the road. It's pretty rare for Wisconsin Marquette to be won by the road team. I'm pretty in on Wisconsin today, though. I think they slow this down, muck it up. They close out on shooters where Maryland's been really, really hot from the perimeter. Like they kind of take away Jameer Young, cut off the head of the snake a little bit. And Tyler Wall, I know that Maryland's got some guys to throw at him, but he is such a dominant mid-post threat. And I like them, especially at home. This just feels like a Wisconsin win to me, Matt.
Mm-hmm.
I know that's a gut, and my gut hasn't been as strong this year as yours. We'll fully cop to that. But I feel like I tend to know the Badgers decently well, and I think they can get their Big Ten home opener here, Kai.
I think gut for teams that you follow closely is important, Jim. That's a message from me to the viewers out there. So while I can't articulate my Duke gut, while Jim can't articulate his Wisconsin gut, it's usually right. That's all I'll say.
I like Wisconsin too here. They're well coached. They execute really well on the offensive end. They're at the Kohl Center, and I think Big Ten home court means a ton. I know Michigan State just lost Northwestern, but again, you saw what Rutgers did to Indiana. Generally, home court plays pretty well in this conference. Now, Maryland is a bus I'm not ready to step in front of right now. They're 7-1 against the spread, +8 cover margin. Yeah, that kind of scares me. It is their first real road environment here at Wisconsin, and again, I do love the Kohl Center. I'm just not quite putting my money on Wisconsin due to that, due to how well Maryland is playing currently. Next game, St. Louis, aka SLU, versus Iona. A huge test here for Iona, Jim. They've failed so far against stiffer competition, but they are 3-0 against the spread at home. Talented SLU here looking for a major quality win to bolster their resume. Who do you like?
Yeah, a little revenge potentially in the cards for Pitino and the boys after they lost a really close one at St. Louis last year. I'm sure Iona wish they had that one to add to their Alabama win last year for an at-large resume. Unfortunately, did not quite get there. The big wins at home, they've mashed some MAAC opponents very impressively so. They destroyed Vermont. But I kind of think SLU's offense is going to give Iona a little bit of problems. I can't remember which one of you two sent it to our internal group chat about how Pitino and Steve Masiello are both displeased with the defense for Iona so far. And SLU has got weapons on weapons offensively. Yuri Collins will find anybody that's open, and some guys who aren't even open, they don't even realize they're open, and he'll pass them open. And then Jimerson is a big time threat from deep. Hopefully Perkins is starting to get back into the groove. I know he's not truly himself, but Matt, I lean the Bills on the road here. Am I crazy?
No, I kind of lean that way too. I didn't take it because I read extension of that quote talking about how Pitino's been looking at SLU for like over a week. I mean, Pitino's like the most maniacal team-to-team preparation guy there is. It's why he's a great coach. More coaches should do that more obsessively, in my opinion. But just like how dialed he is on the scout, how big it is potentially for an at-large booster to their resume, I just scared me a little bit. I think everything else, though, does set up well for SLU. Kai, I don't think we've seen the Gales miss Quinn Slazinski. Am I saying that correctly? Slaz?
Yeah, right.
Maybe that comes back to bite him here. They've played small and quicker and almost better without him. I just think that the matchups they've seen with that dynamic have been favorable. So maybe today they missed that size against SLU's front line.
I totally agree. And that's kind of the key, I think, for SLU, getting Ellie Jr. Joseph in foul trouble because he's prone to it. And Iona doesn't really have any other options up front with Slazinski out. Shema has played better the last couple of games, but they've been against Niagara. They've been against Canisius so far. it's a whole different level of competition. The Danis Jenkins versus Yuri Collins battle, that's going to be an awesome watch tonight. If you guys aren't familiar with Danis Jenkins, he's been terrific at point for Iona this season. Really has led their team. The line does feel a tad short for me. I do have great respect for Rick Pitino, so I will not be fading him, but it feels a little bit short. I do lean towards SLU in this game. Chat Mob Part 1, Jim Root, the mobster. What do you got?
Questions are rolling in. We got plenty of questions from Mr. Turner in the chat, but we're going to start with some of the other ones. Scott H. and Connor Platt both asked about East Carolina at UNC Wilmington. Kai, do the Seahawks continue to have the horseshoe up their proverbial booties?
They certainly do have a horseshoe, don't they? Yeah, I think they're number 2 in luck right now in KenPom after being number 2 last year. Why go against them? The number is too high for me. I think East Carolina is the better bet at the current price. East Carolina not too shabby themselves against the number this year. Also, not unfamiliar to luck this season. So I would actually lean towards ECU at the price.
Yeah, the number's a little higher. I was surprised by it. I mean, both these teams are like get down 10 and then come back and win by 20. So I don't know how that works when they go against each other. Teasing a question from Harry R about Sam Houston and Oklahoma State. That will come in best bets. I'm gonna make them wait. Matt's different operator when he's chats are, but I like to make people wait.
I respect that.
Matthew, you get Milwaukee at Chattanooga. This was much discussed in the chat. I was kind of surprised about it. The Panthers have been a lot better lately as they've figured out their ball handling and guard play, but we do love our mocks and Mr. Danner on the sideline.
Yeah, a little bit of market manipulation with this one. Bets early came in on Milwaukee, and then quickly Nuga money came back in. So it was 10, then to 8, now back to 10. I agree with the Nuga money, but Kai, Milwaukee has been just like a rocket ship. I think the depth and the grasping of Bart Lundy's system is starting to really produce some returns up there. So I would not be in any hurry to get in the way of the Panthers team.
Yeah, absolutely. They're not as good on the road, I don't think. They haven't really played well on the road yet.
True.
That's my one thing.
Yeah, they just played a couple conference games. Maybe there's a letdown a little bit in focus potentially. Ray Reyes asked if UT Arlington will score 52 points today, Kai. They're playing North Texas. We surprisingly saw North Texas total get bet up a little bit here from 113 to like 114.5, 115.
That's, yeah.
They did go over in their last game against Omaha. Do you see that happening again?
Yeah, it probably got bet up because it was 113, and that's one of the lowest totals I've seen on an opener. But it's warranted. I don't think Arlington will score over 50 points.
I would 35 bet, last year in this game.
Yeah, I would bet against them scoring 50 points. Spread, I don't know. North Texas looks like they're kind of in domination mode again with their roster fully intact, so I'd lean their way.
Yeah, they just won by 30 against Omaha, and Tyler Perry did nothing.
Yeah,
did nothing. Yeah.
So really impressive. Matt, a couple people asked about South Dakota State at Montana. Don't believe that is on the outline. What do you think here?
I guess I understand the Montana money, given the spot and the fact that they're healthier. They had a huge flu bug, and that would kind of pillage their games the last few weeks. Had a couple of guys out. South Dakota State, road warriors, but like all they do is play well in these tough road spots. So I'm not like exactly buying bad spot for South Dakota State because it seems like under Eric Henderson the last 2 years, they tend to they don't like fully crack. They haven't covered all these games, but they don't like fully fold. So I actually would be tempted to counterpunch here with the Jack Bunnies.
Yeah, the teams I don't like South Dakota State against are ones that pressure and force turnovers because I don't trust their point guard situation at all.
Right, Montana doesn't either.
Montana's not like a pressure team. Kai, you get the other team from South Dakota. That would be the Coyotes. They are headed to Colorado Springs to take on a much improved Air Force squad.
Yeah, line's kind of gotten up there a little bit, but it makes sense. It's a tough home court. I'm not sure if AJ Plitzuweit is totally right for South Dakota right now. I know he's been coming off the bench, or at least did last game, clearly coming back from a terrible injury. 4.5 is getting a little bit high for me. You just saw South Dakota win an impressive game against BYU on a neutral. I believe it was in the state of Utah. I could be wrong on that. So the travel here isn't that big. I actually lean towards South Dakota at plus 4.5.
Yeah, South Dakota just won at BYU. So yeah, impressive stuff.
Was it at BYU? I thought it was neutral, but yeah, you might be right.
Well, yeah. Let's see. We'll do 2 more and then head back to the outline. Matthew, Nevada at Pepperdine, your Wolf Pack taking on the young but potent Waves.
I gotta take him here right at 2. And I don't know. Here's my only concern is that Pepperdine's talent was really scary. So I didn't bet it. Nevada's been awesome. I worry about their lack of depth, Kai, catching up to them as they get deeper into the non-con until they get some bodies back. But I don't know. They play well as a team. They guard. I think they're the right side here.
Good team, and they're traveling 30 minutes from LMU.
From LMU, right? Off a loss. Good spot, too.
It's not a travel spot for them.
It's probably a loser. Pepperdine's going to win by 30. Let's just call it how it is. They're winning by 30 tonight.
Yeah, I think we see a lot of points there. I like the over.
Yeah. I kind of agree with Jim. I'm on the over. I'm with you there.
Speaking of over, I'll take either of your input, but I'll start with Kai real quick. Coppin State at NC State. Does it fly over? Do we get the track meet that it appears to be on the surface?
Without looking at the number, yes.
157, I believe the chat said.
Oh,
Kai,
my
Matt,
God.
What do you think?
Points,
it's a big number, though. I don't know, thinking like 152 if I just had to guess off the top of my head. It's a big number. But yeah, I mean, NC State, FIU, what was that, 200 points total? So NC State against these mid-major, low majors who want to run can be track meets quickly.
Mm-hmm. It's up to 161.5 at BetRivers.
Whoa.
I wouldn't take that.
Yeah, I can't.
It's not a good
bet.
That's big.
High. It's just too high at this point. It's moved too much. All right, let's get back to the outline, folks. You will see that there are 4 games that have been asked about a bunch, and then we'll hit the rest after that section. So go ahead, Kai.
Yale at Butler. That's right, Yale making the rundown. How about that? The line seems short. That's what I'm going to start with, Matt. But Yale is a tough dog, as people who watch the NCAA tournament might know. And Butler is still shorthanded, as we know. That maybe their injuries here will catch up with them. Yale battled at Colorado. They're battle tested. What do you think about this game?
I like Butler, but I like Butler every game. So I'm tired of regurgitating the same narrative. I feel vindicated that they took care of business against K-State. The depth is a real concern. I mean, they have 7 players. I took Butler first half in this one. I think the depth could really catch up to them in the second half. I said Yale doesn't step up well in class, historically at least, but this year they have. Winning at Hawaii is pretty impressive, although it's a little bit of an asterisk on that win because Hawaii was shorthanded. Competing at Colorado in altitude, going across country. Although I think Colorado kind of stinks, to be honest, and they had one good game against Tennessee.
That was a player revenge game there, though, man.
Player revenge game with Mr. Gabadon's, right? Yeah. So I don't know. Yale's been awesome. They're a great current form team right now. I just don't think they're all the way as good as their number indicates. So yeah, I laid the 3.5 or 3, I think, first half with Butler.
Yeah, they've been dominant at the rim so far this year. Like they're huge up front. The Jarvis, Noling. That combination's been
great
fantastic.
Front line. Yep.
Isaiah Kelly. They had some swats against Hawaii. I tweeted one of them. It was just absolutely ridiculous. But now they're going against Manny Bates. Like that's the best big man they've played all season. I think they might have a little bit of problem dominating. I mean, he's bigger than all 3 of those guys. And I don't fully trust the Yale guards yet, Kai. Them losing Cotton and Gabadon, I think, is eventually going to hurt them a little bit. And stepping up against better competition in Butler with the guards that they have, the Harris, that I know we don't fully trust, but I think this line's a little bit low. The Bulldogs would be the side for me.
I agree. I think it's too low. I lean towards Butler. It might be a scoring challenge for Butler. Like you mentioned, Yale has been pretty tough inside the arc, and we know Butler's offense can get kind of weird. I mean, they were in a battle with Tennessee Tech with 8 minutes left. That was a 1-point game. I do think they're a really good team, though. I do lean their way because Yale has showed some pretty poor efforts, too. The Stony Brook game, Stony Brook was hot, but boy, you can't just beat that team by 5 points. It's a train wreck this season. So I do lean towards Butler at -6. Not throwing real money on it today, though. Toledo at Northern Iowa is our next game. Boy, this one's taking money. The Rockets, Jim, have taken money here.
It took my money.
Spreads
it
like
took all my
5,
money, baby.
something like that. That's right. Yep. It's not a slam dunk, though. I'm going to say that. It's their only second road game of the year. They just lost George Mason. They're now 2-3 against the spread away from home. Who do you like in this game?
It's not ideal. They were right there. I mean, against George Mason, went to overtime and ended up not able to cover, lost by 7 in OT. I like the Rockets. I don't think Northern Iowa has any sort of rim presence to deter all the driving that Toledo does. They spread you out and then get into those gaps and finish at the rim. And that's, with Fife out for Northern Iowa, they're not that big. Their typical center is Betts, and he's just a shooter. Like, he's not a guy that's going to intimidate you. I think this is a perfect setup for the Rockets here, Matthew. With Nate Heisey still out for the Panthers, he's seeing a doctor and getting his status updated, but he won't be back yet. I'm with you. I like the Rockets. Are you going first half, full game? What do you like here?
I did full game. I think first half is what I recommend now, just because the number's been bet up to 5. 4.5. I still would prefer first half the current full game number. Just sort of you're in that no man's land of between 3 and 5, and you've lost the better value. But yeah, I love Toledo. I really do. I think I'm missing something. I feel like a sucker here. betting this pretty big because, Iowa's a well-coached team, but Jim's right. They're a shell of themselves right now. They're banged up. They're young. They have no interior presence. I know that Jordan Majeski wrote very eloquently about how they like to pack the paint, which sort of negates Toledo's like rim attacking, driving, slashing sort of attack. But I think that schematic lens is not going to stop Toledo. I think they get what they want still. Oh, and they'll just easily counter and they'll make threes and they can all shoot it. Got Tyler Cochran back last game. Just too many outlets for Toledo to score in this game. I think they win easily.
Toledo can shoot. They prefer to drive, but they absolutely can.
They can shoot, right? Yep.
Yeah, a couple things on UNI. So they are very young, but I agree. They are really well coached and they are tough, man. Their only wins this year are against outside of the top 300 teams, Northern Illinois and Evansville. That looks pretty bad, but close game against San Francisco, they should have won. Close game against Grand Canyon, they probably should have won as well. They're not hopeless, and they definitely have a home court here. I do think Toledo gets whatever they want offensively, though, for reasons you guys already said. They're also due for some positive regression on their percentage splits on defense. Opponents are 39% from three against Toledo. Opponents are shooting 75.5% from the free throw line against Toledo. Both of those are bottom 30 in the country. Those will probably improve. So as long as they don't give up 100 points here to UNI, I think they do cover the spread here. Georgia at Georgia Tech is our next game, a rivalry. Line's getting high. But, Jim, I have to assume that Georgia still has some injury troubles, and that's probably why. And hence, I'm probably not going to back the dogs here. But what do you think?
Yeah, it sounds like Okendo will be back in and Terry Roberts potentially as well. They were out with more minor knocks. I think Roberts was ill, and it sounds like they practiced. So that's pretty big. The two guys that are probably still out, Anselm and Moncrief, take away a big thing for Georgia here. I think they could have dominated the offensive glass against the Georgia Tech zone that they really struggled to rebound out of. But that's like two of their best three rebounders. I guess you throw Bridges and Kyron Lindsey, those guys will still probably eat up the glass a bit, but they lack the depth to compete with or to consistently compete there. So I actually grabbed a little Georgia Tech at the early number and I bought off it at the higher number because I didn't know Okendo was going to play until later or was expected to play. So I have like a 1 point middle here. We'll probably juice out, Matt. I don't have a strong recommendation where it's currently at.
Yeah, it's up to 4.5, 5. If you just think this Georgia Tech team stinks, which is a very viable take and one you can easily defend. One I was actually trying to rebuke early in the year, but now I'm like, not so sure. Then yeah, I think 5 at the current number with the guys that are playing for Georgia probably feels right. I lean Georgia Tech though on the opener. Rodney Howard's supposed to play today. I know he's kind of bad, as Jim has mentioned before, but he has a big body, and Georgia Tech has no size. Like, not only can they not rebound out of the zone, schematic or just by design of playing a zone, but they have no size. So I think, Georgia's Mike White offensive lulls can be negated by they can just throw it off the backboard, go get it, play volleyball at the rim. I do like this Tech team, Kai, a little bit. There's a part of me that thinks they have a sneaky people think we stink, but we're really not that bad aura to them. I don't know. I can't put my finger on it, though.
I think they're pretty bad. I think they're among the worst teams in the ACC, and that's saying something. However, something did surprise me. They're awesome against the spread at home under Josh Pastner.
Pastner's a great ATS coach. Look at his numbers. It's
weird. 49-33 against the spread at home under Josh Pastner. That's a 60% clip. That surprised me. I was not aware of that. Now, they were terrible last season. Terrible against the spread at home. So maybe that's turning. Again, trends don't matter a whole lot, guys. Let's be honest. They did beat Georgia on the road last year. Perhaps the Dogs punch back here. But again, without knowing for sure that Terry Roberts and Okendo are in, I can't really back Georgia. If they're in, plus 4.5, absolutely all day long for Georgia. James Madison at Virginia is our last game on the rundown here. Revenge. Matthew says JMU beat Virginia last year at home. It was disgusting. It was 59 possessions. We had 101 total points in that game. Both teams are better, though. We hope to see a better game tonight. Who do you like?
Side, I'm pretty torn. I think the numbers sharp, sitting at low teens. Obviously, James Madison, they've been a rocket ship all non-conference, stepping up big time in class here. I don't know. Will we say, how do they fare in the litmus test against UNC? I guess it's hard to even use that as a relevant precedent because like the UNC versus Virginia are two completely different styles. I guess the revenge scene from Virginia matters, losing to JMU last year, Jim. I just don't think Tony Bennett's like a rah-rah revenge guy, though. Like, I just think this team's pretty even keel. They'll go out and play how they want to play game to game. I guess I would actually lean Virginia just because I think they can score inside pretty easily, but I don't know. James Madison is too good to really disrespect.
Yeah, I'm not like, oh man, they are going to win by 30 because Reese Beekman's been looking in the mirror since last year about losing at James Madison. He can't
Right.
handle it. They might just out execute James Madison, who I think is an awesome up tempo team and can force turnovers and stuff. But Virginia's got 2 ball handlers out there. They've been pretty rock solid with the rock. And if they're not turning it over, James Madison might struggle to score in the half court. That's a big problem for them. So I made this number right about what it is, Kai. This Virginia team's a lot more potent offensively than they were last year. Just some of the guys they've added, the improvement they've had, more familiarity with the system. I fear James Madison, but I'm not gonna back them here against a team that has looked a lot better than I expected. Virginia.
Yeah, they look great. They look like their old selves on offense. They're really efficient. Will 5 guys continue to shoot over 40% from 3? Will 4 guys continue to shoot over 42% from 3? Probably not, but they get really good shots. They're getting open looks, and that's part of the reason why they are shooting so well. James Madison's also shooting the ball really well. I mean, they're 6th, I think, in the country in 3-point percentage. They're terrible last year in the same statistic. I mean, that's why they lost a lot of games early on. So maybe they're due for some regression here. They did get smacked by UNC, man. I do think that was kind of a wake up like, oh, James Madison, maybe we should cool our jets a little bit. They also showed their mortality against Valpo. Losing in overtime to Valpo right now, not a good look for a team that we thought was very good in James Madison.
How did Valpo lose by 11 to Belmont? That's so annoying, by the way.
I still don't know, actually. Like Jim said, it's a pace battle. JMU wants to run, but Virginia controlled the pace so well last year. It's just impossible to control the pace against this team. Now, double-digit spread in a 59-60 possession game, if it gets to that again, you have to lean towards the dog, especially one that can shoot as well as James Madison. So I guess that's where my heart lies a little bit, but I'm staying away. I don't like the revenge angle here. Back to Jim for the chat mob, part 2 before our best bets.
Now we almost got a whole alphabet of questions here, fellas. So that'll let you know we gotta try to fly through them. Matt Akers asking about Vermont at Dartmouth. My gut was Vermont. Dartmouth just played an awesome game against a team that had gone cross country. I think Vermont might be finding itself a little bit, so I lean towards the Catamounts. Matthew, Tarleton at Baylor. Tata had his finger on the Tarleton money line trigger here. Yeah. A couple other people asked about this too. Do you think the Texans hang around as a dog?
Yeah, I do. It feels too obvious, but I feel like let's not overthink this one, right? Like Matt last year is like, this is Baylor's bounce back game. Tarleton stepping up in class. Like, no, Tarleton's just going to keep this game close. This is what they do, right? Like in-state rivalry, Lone Star State bragging rights. I don't know. Gillespie as a big dog. Yes, that's usually a good recipe.
They're just a different team. They muck the game up when they're a dog, and we've seen Baylor turn the ball over. If you turn the ball over against Tarleton, the game gets really, really difficult because they shorten it. Kai from Noah Haynes, American at Mount St. Mary's, a DMV area battle here. Injury questions on the American side for sure. Is that kind of the central thing you're looking at with this?
Kind of on Mount St. Mary's side too. Dakota Lefevre missed last game. He's their second best scorer, I think. I liked the under in this game. It did get bet down. Can't really recommend it right now, but that was the way I was leaning.
Yeah, personnel is so big in that one. Josh Reeves also has been out for Mount St. Mary's, and then Johnny O'Neill and Colin Smalls on the other side. So lineup check, I guess, probably on that one. Matt, North Dakota at Idaho from your fellow Matt Akers. I don't have a single opinion on this game. Nothing jumped out to me. Do you have anything?
One team could win by 20. The other team could win by 20. Yeah, it's the most who the heck knows. Maybe lean toward Idaho because it's at home. Just respecting the home court here and non-con a weird travel spot. I don't know.
Yeah, and I don't think Kai's boy, Taryn Frank, has come back yet for Idaho.
Yeah, screw him, though.
They blew out Northern Illinois without him, but that was the worst spot of all time for Northern Illinois. So, Daryl Turner asked about Boston College first half, Kai. I don't love Boston College as a big favorite. There's no Mekhi Ashton Langford. Quentin Post still hasn't debuted, I don't think. New Hampshire's terrible, though, so I don't know. What do you think?
No thanks on the other side here. Not back in Boston College as double-digit favorite. Not back in New Hampshire because I backed him against a Columbia team they should have, frankly, beat pretty easily. And they missed about 10 layups in a row to not cover that game. So New Hampshire's on my shit list. No, thank you.
Yeah, New Hampshire they're not good, but they're not the team I want to back against. Boston College, who's bad, is a big favorite. Matt from Canes Nation, Texas A&M Commerce, one of these newfangled squads. They are continuing their crazy road binge here at Wyoming. They were just at Hawaii. Then they played at Denver at altitude. Now they're at Wyoming. Laramie is even higher altitude. Are they running out of gas? What do you think?
I don't know. I kind of think they're just like built for this test. They went into Northern Colorado early in the year before the Hawaii trip in altitude, and I think erased like a 20-point deficit to cut it to 3. So I don't know. To me, it's like, yeah, you could argue they're running out of gas, or it's like they're just good and feisty, and all these D1 teams don't have like letdown, or all these new D1 teams don't have letdowns. They play hard every game. I like Commerce. Wyoming's to shell itself right now. I take Commerce plus 12.
Yeah, I kind of buy the under. Wyoming, I don't know what their tempo is going to be.
I lean under
They're
too.
just down people. No EK. Last game, no Noah Reynolds, no Wenzel, who's a big-time shooter. Hurts their offense. So, yeah, would lean under as well. A couple other Daryl questions. We're not going to get to every one of them, but Kai, Syracuse and Oakland. Did you have a take on the total specifically is what he asked about?
No, Matt does, apparently.
Under.
How do you
There
like
you go.
the under,
That's what he was hoping to hear, Matthew.
Oakland is very bad against zones. I will say that. So that's a good angle.
Yeah, I just think this offense is anemic right now. I think Campy has to kind of park the bus a little bit to protect against the injuries to his guards. I don't think they can run as fast as they want to. Syracuse playing through Jesse Edwards up front. He's actually been a monster lately, by the way. I think that matters. Under.
Wofford is hosting Coastal Carolina. Jay McCauley, the Wofford head coach, is taking a leave of absence. There's not a lot of information about why he's doing that. I wanted to stay away from this just because I don't know what's happening there.
And yet they took money.
I want to find out more.
They took money.
I know. I was hoping they would take Coastal money. I'd bet a Wofford at a cheaper price, but no, not the case.
Wofford's been really solid. So if there's anything that's been going on, it doesn't seem like it's affected them much. And then Kai, I know you're bitter about this game, but I'm going to ask you anyways. UMBC at Columbia, the Retrievers have retrieved a ton of money this morning.
Yeah, I'm bitter because the number got ridiculous. I liked UMBC at 4.5. I liked UMBC at 5. I liked it at 6. It's at 8 points right now. I mean, it's getting a bit high for me. UMBC has been a fireball the last 2 games. It could be total smoke and mirrors. So I think it might be a little bit of overreaction here by the market.
I did step
UMBC first half, BB. Best bet.
There it is.
Oh,
boom.
Reiterate it, Matt. Say it again.
If UMBC first half, best bet, boom. Banks gavel, end of discussion. UMBC's kind of good, and Columbia kind of isn't. So
what'd you get, Matt? 4.5 or 5? What are we?
4.5. I'm hoping it might be 5 by the time we've started this program.
Let's see here. First half, where are you?
Come on, mobsters, where are we?
What is all this?
These guys
There's
work.
so many different lines. 5 is the minus 110 line is 5. There's a minus 4.5
5 and you'll like it.
Yeah,
that's fine. I will like it.
Take your push and enjoy it. Kai,
go Retrievers.
Hot dog, from all hot dog. High Point at Furman. I thought this was a little high. High Point's been really good.
Yeah, and Furman's been not great against the spread. Surprisingly, they're really overvalued, Furman, which sucks because they're like my favorite team in college basketball. But I can't bet them ever. In fact, I faded them a couple times. So plus 12.5, that's too high. Lean High Point.
All right, Matt, you get a Big 5 battle in Philadelphia. St. Joe's at Temple. I'm sure Harry and Ryan are just dying to hear what you have to say about their Owls.
Yeah, I love Temple here. I know the spread's way too big, but just like betting on St. Joe's and the train wreck that this is becoming, like it feels like you just bet Temple and look the other way. Curious to hear what Harry and the Temple Owl squad thinks about in the mob chat, but St. Joe is about to implode, so fade for me.
I think Temple's won 3 or 4 straight by double digits, so they're definitely firing.
Covered a couple spreads. They beat LaSalle by 16 in a Big 5 battle, so pretty competent. Kai, do you have any thoughts on Charleston at Presbyterian from Dre Montgomery here? What do you know? Charleston took a bunch of money, got bet up at least 3 points. Where do you think about it now?
Charleston should kill them, but who knows? I'm not laying 15.
Yeah, spread feels high to me, but you can't look at anything Presbyterian's done and find a shred of positivity this year. Unfortunately, they've been really bad. All right, Matt, you get another Philly squad. LaSalle, we just mentioned them. They're hosting Bucknell. LaSalle took some money, -4 up to -6 now at BetRivers.
Okay, well there you go. It's been straightened out. I didn't look at the extra money this morning, but yeah, I think it should be a little closer to 6. So I guess nothing now.
Matt agrees. Yeah, I did. I took the 4, Matt. I agreed. This is about where I thought it would land. From Ryan A. Kai, Arkansas State and Central Arkansas. I didn't have much taken aside. I thought there'd be points, but I was hesitant to bet the total.
Gross. Not betting this game.
Central Arkansas and our guy Churchill Bounds, baby.
Yeah, sure.
Churchill Bounds, one of the best named
good name
players in all
elite
of hoop.
name. Nice little player too.
Matt, does Houston stomp North Florida in the first half? Do they stomp them in the full game? You think so?
Yeah, Kai alluded to it. They beat North Florida loses to power conference teams by 30 on repeat. They just have no resistance up front. They don't try to muck it up at all. They're just going to go out and play their game, and they get killed. And Houston will absolutely murder them on the glass, completely destroy them.
North Florida, 5 out of the last 7 Power 5 teams they've played, they've lost by 30 plus. They've lost to Kentucky and Gonzaga by over 40 this year each. They get killed by big teams by this type of team.
Like the worst defensive rebounding team going against the best offensive rebounding team. Houston will play volleyball in this game.
That's why the line's 32 though, which sucks.
Yeah. So first half is what he was saying, minus 18. I kind of buy it. They're an awesome first half team. Marcus Sasser seems fine. He practiced despite his shoulder popping out. Couple more here. The Metric Panda, great name there. Northern Arizona at Pacific. This feels like points to me. Matt, I'll go to you here. What do you think of Pacific hosting here?
Lots of points for sure. Both teams have prolific shot makers and scorers. I think the pace is going to be pretty free flowing. Jalen Cone versus Mr. Jordan Ivy Curry, right? Jordan Ivy Curry.
Yep. Yes.
A lot of points both ways.
Yeah, I would agree. And then teasing Bradley at SIU Edwardsville. That's coming in best bets in just a second here. I'm trying to see if there's anything I missed. I'm sure I missed a couple games because there's 55 today, but
that's okay.
We've hit most things. We'll hit best bets, and if anything comes in, we can give a one-word answer on them. So Kai, lead us off.
Let's do it. Best bet time. I'm taking Sam Houston, and I think they're plus 9.5 at BetRivers. I wish I had the 10 for the show, but alas, they're an incredibly tough dog. They have 2 outright wins this year against power teams on the road at Utah, which, Utah just beat at home, Arizona. Also at Oklahoma. You know what Oklahoma's done wrong this season? Pretty much nothing except that game. Nothing. So this team is not intimidated against high competition. They also force turnovers at one of the highest rates in the country, even better than Texas. They're 9th right now in the country in turnover rate. That's a problem for Oklahoma State's ball handlers. You have to be able to defensive rebound, though, against Oklahoma State. And guess what? They can. They can do that. They control the glass. This team's well coached. They're physical. They're not afraid. Sam Houston plus 9.5 is best bet.
Kai, that's a top 10 team in the net you're betting on right there. Sam Houston, 7th nationally right now.
Love that. Love to see that. I think is it Jim that's next on the best bets here, or is it Matt? Jim.
It is me. Matt's has already been revealed, but I am on Bradley. Verify that it's -6 right now, but they are going on the road to SIU Edwardsville. A little concerned about Bradley coming off 2 conference games. They played well, and now they're playing a team from a lower league, but it's in state, so I'm hoping the focus is there. And I just think Bradley's still undervalued because of how awesome they are with Rink Mast in the lineup. He has completely changed them. They're a lot healthier than they were early in the season, even aside from Mast. So I like Bradley to kind of roll through Edwardsville, Matthew.
I agree. I had Bradley circled, Jim, as them and Toledo as my 2 biggest gut leans of the day. I don't know why I only took Toledo and not Bradley, but I'm with you on that one.
From you. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
I missed the number, so I would have taken it, but I missed the number. I'll knock on wood for you. Toledo, I missed number, as I mentioned. As I teased earlier, the actual best bet for the official record book is UMBC -5 for the first 20-minute stanza. Columbia is just a bad basketball team, and UMBC is playing like a fireball right now. So
2 games ago, they hit how many threes? 25, I think. It was something
UMBC
ridiculous. Against Coppin State,
they had
they were 21 for 44 from 3.
The Bunyan Sith, what's his name? I can't say his name.
Bunyasith, yeah.
Bunyasith just went nuclear. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Yes, he could again.
He's hit 9 threes.
That's very much like current form. That team is. I'm not trying to get this is the time they crash down. I think we've learned past couple of years just ride those streaks for a little bit.
Yep,
definitely. Hey guys, thanks a lot for joining us once again for the Field of 68 Best Bet Show presented by BetRivers. We are the 3-man weave, and we'll be back with you tomorrow on Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern. See you then. Good luck with your bets.